There's so much talk about nostalgia trips on social media. You don't have to dig deep into YouTube or TikTok to find a video titled Things You Forgot About from the 2000s or Discontinued Products from the 90s. They're everywhere. Many of them playing that aquatic ambiance music. Not gonna lie, that music is pretty dope though. Nostalgia is what I want to talk about with you guys today, because it eventually hits home for everyone at some point. It surely has for me. For those of you who are new here, hi, your boy's in the house. I'm a huge Nintendo nerd, and I make gaming videos, obviously. And in reality, I'm just an ordinary guy who works a regular day job. I love my actual job, but like any occupation out there, I get my dose of not so great days. Recently, I've been trying to fix things at work that haven't been going the way we want them to, and it's definitely been stressful week after week. And when the anxiety kicks in, my brain wants to retreat to times when the anxiety didn't exist. For me, that was when I was a kid who was content enough playing my favorite Mario games, even by myself. I never got rid of my N64 or GameCube or DS or 3DS and kept all of my Mario games. Thankfully, I'm not as worried about that problem at work anymore, but the stress has had me pause and reflect on the last several years. I've been in the working world for those several years now, and it's been anything but stable. I was hopping from role to role, not because I was getting promoted, but because I was only able to get temporary roles, or because of things beyond my control, like the recent COVID pandemic shaking the world. I couldn't hold a position for more than 2 years. There were even points where I wasn't working at all because I only had an internship and I reached the conclusion of that internship, or I just wasn't a good fit for the role because it wasn't meeting my needs. A lot has happened in the span of those 7 or 8 years, and as someone who really wants to win and grow in my professional life, it was an incredibly rocky, unpredictable journey to get to where I am now, just a few years later. So how did this relate to nostalgia? I never gave myself time to just stop and embrace who I am now in the present. I was obsessed with growth, submitting resumes, getting the best grades I possibly could in school. I was dead serious about shaping who I wanted to become. I remember leaving my video games at home when I left for college because I wanted to go all in my freshman year. And because I quote unquote forgot how to relax and stop grinding toward a desirable future, I started to miss who I was in the past before I started pushing myself. Now, I didn't have the perfect grade school or high school life. I bet a lot of people can relate to me saying high school years are among the cringiest years. But looking back on those times now, my path to growth was clear and pretty linear. Whether I was in grade 1 or 5 or 12 or whatever, you ultimately advance to the next academic level so long as you had passing grades. You don't need straight A's or to have the lead role in the play just to advance forward. And I was content with a little, like a small or even a non-existent social circle. Friends came and went throughout all my school years, but I was definitely an awkward kid. I didn't want to be, but that's just who I was for many of those years, especially in grade school. I was anything but popular. Over time, I started to accept that I wasn't the cool kid I wanted to be and got comfortable with a smaller inner circle. I've been friends with many people, some of whom eventually decided to walk away from me, and others I had to eventually cut the ties from myself. And there were just some people who we naturally drifted apart because we went to different schools, or we just pursued different interests, or friend groups, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I've gotten in touch with some of them again. And when I was in college, I didn't want to be affiliated with the party-obsessed kids, or whatever the hell they were getting themselves into. It just wasn't my vibe. Ultimately, I was content playing my favorite Mario games. I couldn't find many other people who enjoyed them as much as I did in person, and I didn't want to force what I like onto other people who were indifferent about it, so I settled with playing alone if that's how it had to be. The point I'm trying to make is that although I faced hurdles in my school and social life, I didn't have anxiety then like I did in recent years because I still ultimately felt content with my present self. So playing games from my childhood bring me back to happy times even if things didn't go my way then either. I've been playing Mario games for as long as I can remember and they never let me down. My aunt introduced me to Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the Game Boy Color when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I watched my brother play Super Mario 64, which of course I eventually picked up myself. And then new games like Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, Wii Sports, Wii Play, and many more released over time. So even when I didn't have anyone to join me playing these games, I still felt comfortable with my own company, and there was always a new adventure waiting for me to pick it up. I recently picked up Mario Party 4 for the first time in forever. I don't remember how old I was the last time I played it, but it was definitely over a decade ago. Although I recalled some distinct features like Toad's Midway Madness, it hit me when I heard the music and the sounds as I played through it myself. Similarly, I haven't touched Mario Party 2 for the N64 since I was little either. After I recorded that game with Derpa Simon, I decided to play all the maps off air just to fully take it all in. And since I was so small at the time I played it a lot, I don't think I ever fully completed the game myself. I just knew you pick a map, collect as many coins as possible in the race to collect the most stars by the end of the game to win. That's pretty much the whole point of Mario Party. I only remember the Bowser course because my brother unlocked it, but I didn't know how to get there myself, so I don't remember ever playing it. After having played all the maps, recalling things I never forgot and remembering other things that I did forget, and also learning about things or features or happenings that I never knew about, I made it to the end credits of the game. And I don't know what it was about the end credits of Mario Party 2, but it really made me feel like I accomplished something big. There's nothing extraordinary about it visually. You see still models of the characters pan across the screen like a simple PowerPoint animation while fireworks go off in what is now the nighttime sky. I think the music was really the selling point of the idea that you accomplished something. It goes from jocular and bouncy to slow and mellow, and then it loops. Meanwhile, the nighttime kind of signifies that you've been on an adventure all day, and it symbolizes the day's end. So now your journey is over at the end of the day, and you get to see all the characters and things you encountered fly by one last time. And to top it all off, at the very end, Toad comes running from the background as if he's like, "Wait, one last thing!" And then the words "see you" appear before he floats off screen too. It kind of looks a little funny, but a few days later, when I felt like I wasn't understanding complex things at work, I got really stressed, and I suddenly recalled the end credits music and Toad saying goodbye. I immediately started to get really emotional at that point in time because I felt more fulfilled and accomplished playing that game than I have at work recently. That programmed validation felt so positively heavy in its own magical way that I felt it, even as an adult. I felt the same satisfaction watching the end credits for Super Mario 64 and Mario Kart 64 as well. I feel joy and happiness Nintendo games from the 90s and the 2000s give me, even now. What's even stranger is that there are plenty of other games from those eras I didn't grow up with, like Donkey Kong 64, or Banjo-Kazooie, or Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 for the GameCube. I did eventually play them, but I was a college student by that point. Even so, the familiar vibe carried through the music, sounds, and graphics, although I didn't play these titles as a kid. And what makes me happy about the emotional connection to the world of Super Mario and these games is that I can still replay them exactly how I did before, whenever I want. Mario was always there when friends have come and gone or when I got laid off from my job. So now I'm going to continue having my fun. Thanks to Discord, I eventually met people who are into the same games as me, and I believe there are many more of you out there. If you'd like to join me and my friends on our adventures playing our favorite games, I'd totally subscribe to the channel. Since I didn't have many in-person friends who enjoy Mario games like I do growing up, I wanted to see if I can create my own sub-community around them. It's almost like I invite you to my house to bond around gaming, you know? And I'm exploring other franchises too, going beyond Nintendo to see what else is out there, so I can have a variety of videos. I'm hoping to upload weekly on Fridays at 6 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for listening to what's been on my mind recently. And until next time, friends, I'm out this house.